This week, President Donald Trump issued a proclamation marking Anti-Communism Week, the first formal national observance dedicated specifically to opposing communism and a tribute to the more than 100 million people who have died under communist regimes. But it's more than just a commemoration. It's a warning. In his statement, Trump reminded the world of the devastation communism has wrought since Vladimir Lenin's 1917 revolution in Russia, a movement inspired by Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, which promised equality but delivered oppression, famine, and death. From the gulags of the Soviet Union to the cultural purges of Mao's China, communism's defining features have remained constant: the destruction of family, the suppression of faith, and the abolition of individual freedom. New voices now repeat old lies, Trump warned, cloaking them in the language of social justice and democratic socialism, yet their message remains the same: give up your freedom, place your trust in government, and trade prosperity for control. This is a rather stark reminder that tyranny rarely marches under its true name. Today, many of the same collectivist ideas that devastated nations in the 20th century are being rebranded and repackaged across the Western world, often under the banner of equity, climate justice, or inclusion. These concepts may sound benign, even kind to some, but their practical outcome is always the same: more power for the state, less freedom for the individual. At rallies like the No Kings protest in Washington and during the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, banners promoting communist slogans and calls to abolish private property have become increasingly visible. In fact, in Canada, we're in the middle of re-establishing what private property even means under a legal system favoring Indigenous land claims. What was once unthinkable in the free world is now tolerated, even encouraged, in many corners of Western politics and academia. Today, roughly 1.5 billion people still live under communist regimes in China, Cuba, Laos, North Korea, and Vietnam. In these countries, dissent is crushed, religion is outlawed, and basic human rights are routinely violated. The Chinese Communist Party continues to operate the world's largest surveillance state, committing atrocities such as forced organ harvesting and religious persecution, all while infiltrating Western institutions through propaganda and disinformation campaigns. Communism has always promised liberation, but only ever delivered obedience. Trump's proclamation reaffirms that the United States rejects this evil doctrine and stands by its founding principles of liberty and individual dignity. He concluded, "We honor the victims of oppression by keeping their cause alive and ensuring that communism and every system that denies the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness finds its place on the ash heap of history." The warning is clear. As Western nations inch further towards centralized power, censorship, and control, often in the name of progress, they risk forgetting lessons written in the blood of the last century. Communism doesn't need to arrive through revolution anymore. It creeps in quietly through cultural manipulation, government overreach, and the slow erosion of individual rights. Those who still believe freedom is guaranteed in the West would do well to remember: it only takes one generation to forget what tyranny actually looks like.